Welcome everyone to the Common People channel. Some friends may have watched my channel. My channel mainly describes life fragments of people's lives, including food, marriage and family, leisure travel, culture and so on. Today, what we want to talk to you about is a new topic, which is that at 2:09 in the morning on January 23, 2024, an earthquake of 7.1 magnitude occurred in Xinjiang. Now our topic is to discuss this earthquake prediction issue. Because when I saw this news report, I happened to be reading Professor Daejiang Liu's book on earthquake prediction that was published not long ago. This book is very detailed to state the research work of earthquake prediction by Professor Daejiang Liu, and among them it also records the predictions for earthquakes in Xinjiang. We will talk about it in a moment. What I want to say is that the earthquake prediction is a global world problem, but 30 or 40 years ago, Professor Daejiang Liu, the author of this book, had already predicted some earthquakes in certain places in certain countries successfully. His prediction results show that in terms of time and space, regardless of whether it is a remote earthquake or a nearby earthquake, the earthquake prediction is not only feasible, but also sometimes even more accurate than weather forecast. At that time he had an earthquake prediction test station located nearby at Mian Reservoir in the northern suburbs of Beijing. That is to say, if an earthquake occurs thousands of kilometers away from this earthquake prediction station, it is a teleseism event. This book discusses in detail the issues related to teleseism prediction except for the prediction nearby earthquakes. Just because I am reading this book now, and also because I saw the news about the earthquake in Xinjiang in the past 2 days, I was suddenly more impressed by this book. In a chapter of this book, I read the description of 2 accurate predictions of earthquakes in Xinjiang by Professor Daejiang Liu. I saw in this book that scientists from all over the world have given Professor Daejiang Liu high praise. For example, Professor J. Tenney, a scientist and head of the Department of Geology at Manchester University in the UK, wrote in a report to the British Council, "It is obvious that Liu Daejiang is a first-rate scientist." In addition, Professor Alexosopoulos, an academician of the Greek Academy of Sciences, spoke highly of Professor Daejiang Liu's prediction of the earthquake in Japan's Ogasawara Isles on December 21, 1977. I think that 30 or 40 years ago, since it is already, our scientists were able to predict successfully certain earthquakes. That is with initial experience. It was confirmed that earthquakes can be predicted, but I found that today people don't seem to be too interested in earthquake prediction. I am very scared whenever an earthquake comes. But I don't know why. Nowadays there are simply too few people studying this science. And I don't know what extent have the theories and scientific research results in this area developed now. But based on my feeling and observation, I feel that today young people are not very interested in the science of earthquake prediction. Almost all the subjects they want to learn are easy and quick to make money. Such scientific research and development, alas, we will not discuss it here. I think that the older generation of scientists, or people of a certain age, have experienced the Tangshan earthquake and know what the earthquake was like at that time and what a disaster it caused. So I think, maybe I have serious doubts about whether every university could recruit students majoring in earthquake prediction in the future. Nowadays, people are willing, leave no stone unturned, to do whatever they can to save trouble and make money quickly. Things have completely changed. Alright, let's not discuss these issues. Now I will just talk about this book by Professor Daejeong Lee. One of the points just mentioned is about the prediction of earthquake in Xinjiang. Let's take a look at this book. Let me read this example of his prediction of the Xinjiang earthquake at that time. In a chapter of his book, he elaborated on 2 predictions of earthquakes in Xinjiang. It was April 19, 1978. I remember it was April 19, 1978. Professor Daejeong Lee has predicted to relevant departments, from April 21 to 22, 1978. A teleseism of about magnitude 6 would occur in western China and directly west of the station. The results showed that on April 22, a magnitude 6.1 earthquake occurred in Xinjiang. Due to the occurrence of the Xinjiang earthquake on April 22, 1978, he accumulated precursor patterns of the Xinjiang earthquake. According to his observations and research, the precursor pattern of earthquake of each area may differ. That is, through the observation and accumulation of precursor patterns, we can sense the area where the earthquake would occur. Each epicenter region should have certain particular precursory patterns. I only know this through studying. If I didn't study, I wouldn't know this knowledge. It was because of the precursor pattern observed in the Xinjiang earthquake that on October 5, 1978, Professor Daejeong Lee discovered a precursor pattern on the record map that was very similar to the Xinjiang earthquake on April 22. In this case he immediately concluded that there would be another earthquake in Xinjiang. Therefore on October 5, he made a prediction to the relevant Earthquake Prevention Office. On October 8, 1978, an earthquake of magnitude 6 to 7 would occur in Xinjiang. As a result, on October 8, an earthquake of magnitude 6.1 occurred in Xinjiang. Because he predicted an earthquake of magnitude 6 to 7, an earthquake of magnitude 6.1 occurred really. This is an example of using the precursor model to predict an earthquake successfully. Regarding the theory of precursory models, I also learned the knowledge from Professor Daejeong Lee's book on earthquake prediction. Why am I interested in earthquake prediction? I think that earthquakes will bring great disasters to mankind, so if you can learn some knowledge about earthquakes, it may be the best way to prevent earthquakes. It should be noted that at that time, Professor Daejeong Lee's station was in Beijing, and Xinjiang was more than 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers away from Beijing. This distance is considered a distant earthquake, namely teleseism. If an earthquake is about to occur near Beijing, there may be various precursors that will be detected by your station. But the precursors of teleseism are usually difficult to detect, especially earthquake prediction. Scientists all over the world believe that earthquake prediction is a very difficult subject. So this shows that it is not easy or simple for Professor Lee Daejeong to successfully carry out telemetry predictions of some teleseism events. Professor Nikolaev, the former director of the Institute of Geophysics of the Academy of Sciences of the Soviet Union and director of the Department of Geophysics at Moscow State University, commented on Professor Daejeong Lee's previously published book, Impending Earthquake Prediction, and said, "Many of our professors have read Professor Daejeong Lee's book. His works were unanimously praised highly by everyone." When I saw the news report, it was said that in the early morning of the 23rd, at 2:09, a magnitude 7.1 earthquake occurred in Xinjiang. I was thinking, did the relevant departments make a prediction for this earthquake? I just had this question in my mind. How many people were injured in this earthquake and how much damage was caused? This is a question mark that naturally appears in my mind. I think that more than 40 years ago, Professor Daejiang Liu had accumulated preliminary experience in successfully predicting earthquakes, and used his own practice to prove that earthquakes are completely predictable. It is a pity that today, more than 40 years later, has this research result been further researched, developed and applied? I don't know about this. Whenever news reports that a major earthquake has occurred in a certain country in the world, with countless casualties and horrible, well, each of us will feel extremely sad in our hearts. On the one hand, humans have already had the preliminary experience of accurately predicting earthquakes. On the other hand, our humans are still continuously suffering from the evil of earthquakes. Therefore, the author of this book, Professor Daejiang Liu, believes that it is necessary to publish an easy-to-understand popular science book on earthquake prediction again to introduce his earthquake prediction theory and methods, so as to awaken scientists around the world and attract the attention of all mankind. He said that this book can be used as a reference for some professionals engaged in earthquake prediction developing their ideas. At the same time, it is also suitable for young people who are passionate about knowledge and pursue the truth to read. As for me, I don't belong to the majority of teenagers, but I still hope to read more and learn more about various aspects of knowledge. The foregoing our topic is mainly about whether earthquakes can be predicted. Furthermore, Professor Daejiang Liu's book even gives his brand new practical results that earthquake prediction may be more accurate than weather forecast. But after more than 40 years, has there been any new development in this theory and practice? This needs to be studied together by our readers or our netizens. I also hope that everyone can discuss various issues under my video. See if there is any agreement between our concepts and actual scientific experience. Do you think earthquakes cannot be predicted? Really? I hope earthquakes can really be predicted. Because after reading these books by Professor Daejiang Liu, I feel that earthquakes are completely predictable. If every earthquake can be predicted, it can greatly reduce the losses which we suffer when facing disasters. You can't fight against disaster and you can't prevent earthquakes from happening, but before an earthquake occurs, we'd better take precautions. At least after the prediction and before the earthquake occurs, everyone has a psychological and material preparation. Isn't it better to be able to reduce the losses caused by disasters to the people? Therefore, I welcome everyone to comment and put forward your opinions. Let's discuss this issue together. I hope that everyone likes my video. Because the content of this video channel of mine is extensive, I hope that everyone will like it. If you have any questions, it doesn't matter. Please bring it up and we will discuss them together. Thanks. Goodbye.